Because, it seems funny to me, you can do whatever you want against a Christian in this world. You can say whatever you want against religious beliefs, as long as they pertain to Christ. And it's okay. It's a joke. It's funny when you assault Christianity. But it's not funny. But I'm not worried about religion, because religion is personal. Because you can do whatever you want to me physically, but Christ will always be in my heart. My concern is for the freedom of speech. Recently, there was a young lady named Erica Connor who was denied a diploma by Orwellian thought police. I thought I was reading a page out of Orwell's 1984 when I read that newspaper article where she was denied receiving her diploma because she made reference to Jesus Christ in her valedictorian speech. Wow. What made that principal think that he had the right to deny that girl, not her diploma, but her freedom to say in that, not some, you would think that she got up and said, everyone should smoke marijuana. Everyone should take drugs. Everyone should have unprotected sex. You know what? If she would have said that, they would have lauded her. They would have lauded her for her boldness to stand up for what she believed. We have come to a place in our nation where our nation is upside down morally.
Amen.
And anybody with common sense is seen as a hater. I wear the badge, then proudly. If you call me a hater for having common sense, then call me a hater. There are some things that don't work. History has proven that immoral behavior will always decay and destroy any industrialized, civilized people. I don't have to go back and talk about the Roman Empire. I could talk about local cities in our own country where people don't know how to behave themselves. There's no business there. There's no commerce there. We have a bunch of projects. Nobody wants to buy property there. People run from it. What I'm saying is, we become upside down, inside out, backwards. Good has become evil, and evil has become good. Give that girl her diploma. My whole point. If you don't like what she said, plug your ears. If you don't like what Rush Limbaugh says for 3 hours a day on the radio, don't listen to it. Quit crying about a fairness doctrine. Go get somebody who's liberal that everybody wants to listen to. If you don't want to hear that homosexuality is a sin, then don't come to my church. I did not say that Christians hate any group, but we certainly don't cater to any group. Christians believe that every man without Jesus Christ is a lost person, and we treat everyone the same as sinners until they meet Jesus Christ. And even when you meet Christ, you're not perfect. There's a long journey of learning how to live right and grow into your Christian faith. But we don't cater to any special groups. I challenge people to stop listening to a bunch of liberal pastors who are afraid to tell the truth. They won't stand up and tell people what they need to hear. Our nation is in trouble. Let me tell you a few myths about the First Amendment and this myth about separation of church and state. I'm calling the common man, the everyday man, to stop sending their kids to professors who are telling lies in our colleges and universities because they have a liberal agenda. I'm calling the common man to start going back and studying for himself, to pick up a book, stop listening to everybody, start investigating for yourself, start inquiring for yourself, start discovering for yourself what truth is. And the fact of the matter is, Thomas Jefferson had nothing to do with the First Amendment. Period. He was overseas when it was written. The words, and build a wall of separation of church between church and state is not in the Constitution.
All right.
We have people thinking that that phrase is in the Constitution. You know why? Because in our public schools we stopped teaching the real history. We're trying to socialize people and make them good little citizens so they'll work for $5 an hour.
All right. All right.
Well, I'm not a good little citizen. I want to prosper. I want to be effective. I want our country to be effective. Pluralizing people economically comes from people being uneducated. When you can hide knowledge from people, you can control people. And the fact of the matter is, those words were written to the Danbury Baptist Association on January 1st, 1803, as he denied the proclamation for a national day of Thanksgiving. Those words were written 13 years after the First Amendment. And Thomas Jefferson had nothing to do with the First Amendment. He was one of many people who drafted the Declaration of Independence. We need to get some knowledge. A man named Fisher Ames, who most people have forgotten about in American history, he was probably responsible for giving the backdrop of the phraseology found in the First Amendment. But most people don't even know who that man is. He was one of the greatest statesmen, and early on in our education, many of us had to read his speeches. But now, you'll never hear that guy. Something's wrong. Something is very wrong in our culture. When we sit back and take everything, hook, line, and sinker. I want you to know what the greatest threat to our freedom is. It is not the Nation of Islam.
All right.
The greatest threat to our freedom is when you look yourself in the mirror and you lie to yourself about what you really think and what you really feel to conform to everyone else around you, to avoid conflict.
That's right.
That is the greatest threat to our freedom. When we continuously lie to ourselves because we have a conscience. And that's what Fisher Ames put in his draft, that the federal government wouldn't infringe upon our conscience. And many people just conform because it's easy to conform. They want to avoid conflict. But you are not avoiding conflict by not really saying what you want to say. You're only transferring the conflict to within inside yourself.